Hello and welcome back to Rage Gaming and Starfield. With the new release of the game finally here, and we're all in our first few days of the game, you're probably experiencing it by now. That insane amount of items or resources, weapons, ammo, ship parts, whatever it is you might need or want, and with that you're going to need the source of all of it, credits. So today I have a guide on how to get these resources, how to get credits, and buy everything you could possibly need to make your Starfield experience just a lot smoother. This guide will cover both the cheesy, kind of scummy practices that might not stick around in the game forever, and the more legitimate that will last long term. Speaking of making and saving money though, today's sponsor is absolutely perfect for the release of Starfield. Kinguin.net is the ideal place to buy Starfield discounted, but also any game you need considering their over 200,000 offers. You can find very competitive offers for any of these games, and there's a constant support team to tackle any issue 24/7 if there even was any. Using our link or discount code RGV, you can drop the cost by 12% on all purchases you make. As you can see, it's as easy as entering RGV into the discount code option on the right of your checkout page. As soon as it's in and applied, the discount will update the cost. So use the link in the description of the video or the pinned comment down below and get your discount for Starfield. With Kinguin, you can buy fast, cheap, and safely. Once again, thank you to Kinguin for sponsoring the video. So, how are we going to be generating consistent, big piles of credits and then the resources to build whatever we want? Well, to begin with, there's going to be a pretty cheesy, impactful concept you want to be aware of if you want to do it. It's difficulty swapping. The thing is, the harder the difficulty, the better the potential loot. And naturally, very hard difficulty has the best odds. By playing on very hard then, you're most likely to get better items to sell, whether you find them, kill for them, or steal them. However, playing on very hard means you're playing on very hard, so it's a bit slower to get the items since things take longer. There's a bit of a weird trick that works right now that surely they're going to remove, you'd think, but we can take advantage of it while it's in the game. It's basically the ability to set the game to, very hard, and then swap to the easiest difficulty. What this does then is set all of the levels of loot to spawn in on very hard, while you're actually playing on the easiest mode in terms of combat to get the items. To do that, all you need to do is be outside of your planned target system, and then set the game to very hard. Then you travel to your system of choice, whatever planet's there, and you'll load in on very hard, of course. But then once you're there, you just swap to the easiest difficulty, and then everything's loaded in on very hard, but you're dealing with weak enemies. To make the most of this, I would recommend you get missions, go clear specific outposts, do special targets on any map, go places where there's gonna be loot, whether that's a main mission, side mission, faction mission, or a bounty, whatever you want to do. In that way, you'll double up on the rewards. Through this method though, you can stack up on your blues, your purples, and occasionally your yellows, which sell for really good amounts compared to normal items. The problem when you're selling loads of stuff is that sometimes the vendors, they run out of money to sell you stuff, so a quick trick to fix that is to pass time using a bench or a bed or whatever. Give it like 24 hours or more, and that'll reset the vendor's stock and money. If you want to push the value of the items you're selling, well, you'll need the all-important commerce skill, which level 1 increases the value of items you're selling by 10%, even more so at higher levels. So you're going to really want that skill immediately, and to be honest, you're going to want that in any playthrough. If you want to go ultra hard on this scumming strategy, well, you can save before killing, say, the big final boss elite enemy in an outpost or whatever. Kill them and then see what they drop. If it wasn't a good item that's worth something, well, reload before you kill them again, see what they drop. It'll re-roll because it won't be the same roll every time. Pretty silly we can do this kind of stuff, but it's there if you want to make use of it. But what about something that's maybe not going to get removed from the game and maybe a lot less cheesy and scummy? Well, the really cool and fun mechanic in Starfield that nets most of the profits we're going to see is contraband. These items are stolen goods. Whether you stole them, or more likely you stole them from the ships of pirates who were stealing contraband. What's fantastic about these outlaw goods is just how valuable they actually are. You might look at them and go, whoa, 15k, 20k, that's insane. The reality is they'll sell for a lot less than that, but imagine selling an individual item for 2,000 credits and you're selling 10 of them at once. It's still a lot of money, and you can do that really easily. When you have contraband though, when you approach a settled planet, you'll be scanned for contraband goods and you'll be in a lot of trouble if they find any. So you're going to need to find a way to deal with that. Cargo shields are going to protect your items from those scans, allowing you to actually begin smuggling for the incredible profit. So this is a really fun, unique way to collect high value items and make good gameplay instead of doing like cheesy strats or boring, monotonous farming strategies. And through this method, you'll have the option to steal spaceships to and sell those, and there's going to be a lot of items involved, from the pirates you're killing and what they have, in the cargo of the actual ship, the captain's lockers and more. There's lots of different sources of money here. The most effective way to get consistent sources of contraband then, because there are multiple and more unreliable methods, is to focus on targeting the Crimson Fleet ships, because these come up in the missions a lot and allow you to, continuously farm them. The Crimson Fleet are literally space pirates, so yeah, they're always going to be transporting illegal goods like that. To get these missions, you just need to go to any major city and go to the mission board. For us new players though, the most obvious one for all of us is going to be the New Atlantis one. That works fine. You find it at the spaceport in the viewport building, pretty close to where you get out of the ship. Just head forward and to the left, and inside you'll find a terminal, which is the mission board. You'll get a list of random missions, and if there isn't one that you're happy with, you can cycle these by waiting like 24 to 48 hours by again using a bench or something, and there is one right next to most boards. If you don't want to do it this way, you can randomly encounter ships by just going to different planets and then occasionally having an encounter, or doing side quests, main missions or otherwise, that have you actually go do space combat in some way. But obviously the Crimson Fleet are going to be a reliable target. How do you successfully take down an enemy spaceship without destroying it, so we can actually board it and take the contraband? Well, it's pretty simple. You want to target the ship's engines so they can't move, and then you can fly up and board them. Problem there is you're going to need the targeting control systems skill, which makes this actually viable. Thankfully, this is under the tech skill tree on the very first row, so it is something you can get very quickly. By upgrading, you make the lock-on and the process smoother, but it isn't necessary. But you will do the challenge kind of naturally, because we will be fighting ships and destroying them to level it up. To use it, you just need to lock in during combat in the spaceships, and then while you're fully locked, you activate the targeting system under whatever keybind or button you're using. I believe it's like X on an Xbox controller. Then you'll just swap between the specific ship parts to target, and obviously go for the engines. You'll have to take out the shields first and then destroy the engine health without actually destroying the ship health bar in the process. This can be a problem when the engines have massive health pools. It can be quite frustrating. You accidentally destroy the ship, but if you're targeting a ship with a smaller engine health pool, it's a lot easier. Anyway, take out the shields, then the engine, and then move up on board the ship, and you'll need to defeat everyone in there. Do be aware that if there's multiple ships in a battle, you want to take out every ship but the one you're planning on boarding to then actually board it successfully. With that though, you will have a pile of loot to collect from the enemies, from the ship's cargo, the captain locker, and of course the contraband that will be laying around the ship, and maybe even the ship itself. The ships consistently have at least one contraband somewhere laying around, usually found on the surfaces or on the floor, and it'll be some sort of container, usually like a little chest or briefcase or something like that. You can tell because it has a yellow box icon displayed near the item name, and also the value will be crazy high compared to normal items. So make sure you really check everything in there. There's also sometimes storage chests with extra loot you might find. When you're done, it's up to you to take the ship and sell it too if you want, but you want to make sure that the ship that you're stealing and taking actually has cargo shields, otherwise that will be a problem. To sell your contraband then, you'll need to land on a settlement planet that's big enough to actually have a trade authority there. Usually the larger cities have a place like this, but they're somewhat hidden for obvious reasons. All that's well and good, but how do we actually bypass the scans? I've mentioned it a couple times, the cargo shields. How do we get those? Well, there's a couple ways. You could have joined the Crimson Fleet and got access to their smuggling ship parts easily through that method, or you could infiltrate the fleet through main story and different faction missions. Problem with this is as you continuously kill Crimson Fleet members to, rob them, the Crimson Fleet aren't happy with that and it becomes a bigger problem. But there's another way to get shielded cargo parts, and it's easy, and I also mentioned it in another video. The Porima system has one planet named Porima 3, which has the red mile location on it. This place runs a weird blood sport style event in which someone will try to run the mile to a tower while being attacked by beasts and then make it back again. I actually recommend you try this. You can make some good money, get some good items. It's pretty cool. But what we're actually here for is to meet Lon Anderson. Speak with him and choose to modify your ships, and then he'll actually give you the option when you add parts to pick shielded cargo under the cargo options. I believe he sells either 100 or 200 shielded cargo holds. The bigger the better, but more expensive and weightier, so be aware. You might have to raise the engine power of your ship if you're stacking loads of cargo onto it. But you could just get rid of your own cargo and just have one shielded cargo to begin with. With the shielded cargo good to go, you'll now have a % chance to pass the scans when attempting to land on a settled planet. Just make sure you put your contraband actually in your ship's shielded cargo so it can actually avoid the scan, just heads up there. My advice is before you attempt to pass a cargo scan ever, just save, because if it goes wrong, you can reload and try again. Safely landed with contraband in hand then, we're going to head to the Chosen Settlements Trade Authority and sell your items. And you can also sell the ships at this point via the ship service technicians, always at the spaceports where you land. If you're looking for a trade authority, I'll tell you where the New Atlantis one is, since we all start there anyway. It's in the Mass District. At the Mass District train station, if you just turn right from the exit, there's kind of a dingy service elevator that only goes to one place, which leads you down underground. It takes you to this big, cool main corridor, which you follow down to the end of and turn right, and there is the trade authority right in front of you. Now, be aware, the prices of the things you're going to be selling won't be as crazy as they first appear when you first see them, but you can again increase the value of the items you're selling by using the commerce skill that I mentioned at the start, pushing the value up by 10% and even more to say 25% more valuable at level 4. Also, while you're here, make sure to sell all your general extra junk, whether you got it from these hunts or whatever, wherever you've got it, because trade authority shops usually have a lot more credits than a normal vendor, and that makes selling a lot easier. So through this process, you're just getting like a load of different resources, including literal ships potentially, and the really high valuable contraband. I've told you how to really push the value and get the most out of your selling. And by doing this even semi-regularly, you'll be netting yourself 10,000 credits or more in just one shipboard. And what's great about this is it's just part of the game. When you're in a battle in space, you can just make sure to intentionally board a ship and get what valuables they have. It can be something that kind of slots into your gameplay and is way less invasive than the cheesy stuff we talked about at the start. Now, in regards to the resources you'll be using to craft or build bases and so on, you can actually avoid farming these manually, which can be really nice, because there's resource sellers all over the place, but easily one can be found in Atlantis, thankfully. The Jemison Mercantile Shop can be found in the spaceport area of Atlantis, and is a really easy place to just go trade for resources. But you can also get, medicine, ammo, weapons, and more, whatever it is you're actually doing, whether you're building or just need the general resources from vendoring. This means that credits has even more value because it saves you the time of manually farming resources yourself if you've got the money. But there you have it. That's my quick guide to the two current main methods to make money, the cheesy and the legitimate. And I will also mention that you could weave in selling survey scans like I've also mentioned in another video, but that can be slower. If you're passively scanning everything, then fair enough though. If you guys have any good money or resource methods, then maybe drop it in the comments and maybe you'll help someone. For now though, I've been Hollow, you've been you. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.